If I'm leaving my house during the week, it's either to go to 2 places. 1, to head to the church because I'm a youth pastor, so that's my job, or 2, to go to my Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym, because I practice Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Other than that, I'm usually at my home. I don't even like going to, like, Walmart, go grocery shopping or whatever, even though that's only, like, 5 to 8 minutes away. My life, like my gym and my church are both within like a mile of my home. And so that's kind of my life and I don't mind it. But in both areas, recently, the past few months, and even up to the past year, the different organizations of these areas, the Assemblies of God for my church, and then just Brazilian Jiu Jitsu as a whole, have had more and more reports of people with big names in both of these areas having lawsuits drawn up against them for sexual harassment or sexual assault. All these reports have got me thinking again about the Billy Graham rule. For those that don't know, Billy Graham was this evangelist that brought many people to Christ. And he had this rule that he would not meet with another woman by himself. And this idea, I think, comes from 1 Thessalonians 5:22. In the King James, it says, abstain from all appearance of evil, so that when someone outside the meeting was looking in, they would have the thought wouldn't even cross their mind that he was doing something wrong, meeting with a woman that wasn't his wife, because he would have other people there. And that is a good precaution to have because even as ministers, uh, the majority of ministers, and honestly, I brought up Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, they should be making sure they're following this as well. But as ministers, we need to make sure that we are representing God well. Because think about it. When you hear like a priest or a pastor or a minister having an accusation brought up against them, the world, people who are unbelievers, they look at that and they shake their head. And it doesn't just shine a negative light on that minister or pastor, but it shines a negative light on God as well. And we are called the ambassadors of God to this world, and we need like forget our own reputation. We need to make sure we are not shining a bad light on God. And so we also need to take precautions, uh, even if we're doing no wrong, to make sure any accusations that come our way are easily set aside because they aren't the truth and we have evidence for that. One of the ways that you can do that, I myself, one of the ways I do this is that I have a security camera in my office and I have a security camera in the youth room. And this not only protects me, but it protects those that might come in to meet. And then if like this is my Axis security camera is not stuff that like if someone comes in and shares a struggle, I'll go out and post that on social media. It's there so that if an accusation is brought, I can bring up the footage and there is an unbiased look at the truth of what actually happened or what actually was said in a certain meeting or situation. And so that's one of the ways that we can do that. When we look um, at jujitsu gyms. There's, professors oftentimes just to make ends meet will do private lessons. And so then if you're doing a private lesson with a female student, you got to have ways to protect yourself as well in case an accusation comes up. So now I know a lot of gyms have security cameras. And I think even churches should have a lot of security cameras. They should have security cameras for sure anywhere that a an adult who's not a parent of a minor is working with minors. And also they should have security cameras pointed at like bathroom doors to see who goes in and goes out because there's you know stuff happens in bathrooms. So um yeah, there's precautions that need to be taken when we look at ministry as ministers, but even as Christians, we need to avoid the appearance of evil. The Billy Graham rule is a good one to have. Sometimes it's hard to do that. For example, like my lead pastor, his wife is a secretary and has an office right beside him. But let's say his wife isn't the secretary. He has a female uh, children's pastor and a female worship pastor. So what do you do there? Do you just make sure anytime they have any questions throughout the week that they wait until the staff meeting that you have once a week, or how does that work? Where not too many people are in the church during the week, you always call in someone else And then that person who's trying to get other stuff done and doesn't need to be in the meeting is kind of having their time, quote unquote, wasted for that accountability. And so it's a tough situation. It's not black and white, but precautions need to be made. Um, scandals in the church like this is nothing new. Again, Billy Graham, I think one of the reasons he made this rule there for himself is because he saw some big names around him fall like this. Their reputations fall, but there were some of them that were entering these situations where they fell themselves. They did stuff they shouldn't be doing. And I think the Billy Graham rule even takes a temptation to do something you shouldn't be away from that. And so it's a good rule to have. And we need to remember that we're representing God. And when unbelievers look at our lives, we need to understand that it's not just our reputation at stake, but it's the Lord's reputation at stake. And that even if we're doing nothing wrong and an accusation comes up, it can tarnish God's name and push people from coming to God as well. And so it's important for us to make sure we have our boundaries and our precautions set. Thanks for watching.